What is up, realized men? In today's video, I'm going to give you one psychological shift, painfully simple. That's going to be the difference between you living a mediocre, boring, lame life and you living an extraordinary life that's well beyond your expectations and dreams. And to do this, we're going to look at Elon Musk, Kanye West, Donald Trump, three very unique characters, completely different individuals that all utilize this concept I'm talking about. And to better understand this concept, we need to look at something called the Pygmalion effect. So some time ago, a group of researchers gathered a bunch of students and gave them all IQ tests. As you would expect, some of the students did really well. Some of them were kind of in the middle, and some of them didn't do as well as others. So the researchers shared the results with the teachers and tested these students some weeks later. The second test results were pretty much the same as the first one. The students that did well, did well. The students that were in the middle, were in the middle. And the students that did bad, did bad. Except it wasn't that simple. The reality was the very first test, the results that they told the teachers were actually a lie. All the students did exactly the same. But because they told the teachers that a set group of students did well, that changed the teachers' expectations. And because the teachers' expectations of the students changed, they subconsciously influenced those students to do better. So the teacher thinks that this particular student is going to do well. They give them a little bit more extra support, a bit more mindset shift, pumping them up. The teacher thinks this student is not going to do well, is not going to amount to anything. They ignore that student. They don't pay attention to that student, and they just want him to go away. And this is very consistent with life. We are limited by our expectations. And there's two different types of expectations. Expectations from the outer world, from teachers, parents, friends, and there's expectations from ourselves, but both are important in terms of materializing the life that we want. I want you to imagine a line here. At the top, there are things that are impossible to do. At the bottom, there are things that are possible to do. At the bottom, there's the usual things, like going out and mowing your lawn or cleaning your car, or brushing your teeth, things that you've done over and over again that you expect to do well at. And because of that, it's very easy. There's no resistance. There's no limiting beliefs. There's no self-sabotage. You can do that flawlessly. At the top, there are things that are impossible to do. Like, for example, if you're at the gym and the most you've ever benched was 1 plate, if I was to try to get you to do 3 plates, you wouldn't do that because you're saying that's impossible. If the most amount of money you've ever made was $200 at your job, and I was to ask you to make $30,000 in 1 day, you probably say that's impossible because you've never done it. You probably don't know anyone that's done it. It's impossible. You don't expect it to happen, so you don't even do the necessary actions to realize that. So this is why your expectations limit you. Yet there are plenty of people on this earth that are making $50,000, $100,000 per day, and they expect to make more than that, so their actions are perfectly aligned with their intent, and that can become a reality. So let's look at those case study examples I mentioned before. Kanye West. Every single person made fun of this guy, including me. I made videos on Kanye West saying that he was a megalomaniac, egomaniac, idiot. And maybe he was to some degree, right? So he had a ridiculous amount of belief in himself. He literally said, I am a god. He had this almost insane amount of self-belief that he was going to make it, that he was going to become a billionaire.
When someone comes up and says something like, I am a god, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god. I just told you. That's who I think I am.
To the point where he released his Yeezy shoe line, selling things for like $1,000, these shoes for like $1,000 a pop. Something that was never done before, going head on against some big major brands when he was just kind of like a nobody in the space.
You ain't never felt about about a shoe since the Jordans, the way people feel about the Yeezys. I put that feeling, at least give me some royalty. Michael Jordan got 5%, that business is $2 billion. He makes $100 million a year off of 5% royalty. I said, I need some type of royalty. Nike told me, we can't give you a royalty because you're not a professional athlete. I told them, I go to the Garden and play one on no one.
That's right.
I'm a performance athlete. And also,
did you
I'm
say
a
that
thinker.
in the meeting? Do you really say that in the meeting?
Did I really? Anything? Yes.
Fast forward a couple of years, and he's a billionaire, right? His net worth is $1.8 billion. So he proved the doubters wrong because he had such high expectations of himself that allowed to do the necessary actions to realize those goals. Most of us would never do something like that because we don't expect to succeed, so we don't even try. Donald Trump, I remember when he ran for president and he was going down, the stairway, and everybody was laughing and it was a big joke. It was a big comedy. Like, what's this guy doing? This guy that was on The Apprentice, the guy that was, in WWE, what's he doing running for president? What's he doing? But then he won. Why did he win? Because he had the expectation to win. He didn't go in thinking that he might win. He went in knowing that he would win. So the way he carried himself, the way he did, everything he did was completely different to all the other candidates that were a bit more, in their minds, logical, rational. He knew he was going to win. Everybody saw that, and that's why people voted for him, was that self-belief. Elon Musk. For years, people thought that NASA was the only way for people to go to space, the only people that were going to create these rockets. But he was like, nah, fuck that shit. I want to go to Mars. I need to make some recyclable, reusable rockets that go up and down. I don't care what anyone's going to tell me. We're going to figure this out. I don't care if it's never been done before. We're going to do it because I want to go to Mars.
You have talked about this. You said you want to die on Mars, just not on landing, right? Is that correct?
Well, I think if you're going to choose a place to die, then Mars is probably, not a bad choice.
He had these high expectations. Those high expectations led him to see the pathways to realize those ideals. I recently saw Robert Greene actually talking about Elon Musk. And I love Robert Greene. I love the 4-Year Laws of Power. He's one of my favorite authors. But I completely disagree with what he had to say. He was saying that Elon Musk has got too much ego and his ego will be his downfall and he should be aiming so high.
Looking at that with Elon Musk, you have a person like that who has no self-control and it becomes a problem. The car business is an extremely difficult business. He didn't build his company up in an organic, slow fashion. He was too ambitious. He went too quickly.
Well, there's that saying, if you aim for the stars, you're going to reach the moon or something like that. He definitely has done that. He might not go to Mars, but the advances he's done have been astronomical in terms of one person and their innovation. So fuck Robert Greene. I'm with Elon Musk on this one. So what does this have to do with you? In your life, you might have had different expectations for yourself based on what your parents told you, based on what your teachers told you, based on your friend circle. What you have to realize is those expectations are your limitations. So you need to change them, even when your outer reality doesn't support what you're seeing. You need to change them to fit what you want to achieve. So if you are broke, you have no money, you can't see yourself as being broke and not having no money. You have to see yourself as, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make money. I'm going to realize these dreams I have. When I was working at this store called Big W, stacking shelves, when I quit my job, I said to myself, I'm never going to get another job again. At that time, I had no idea how I was going to do that. I never made any money outside a job, but I had that determination. I had that expectation that I will figure it out. And because I had that expectations, it opened my mind to different opportunities, different routes of learning, to the point where I eventually figured it out. It's almost like when you have that expectation, you're planting the seed. And when you plant the seed, over time with watering and maintenance, it can grow into the thing that you want. But if you don't have the expectations, you don't even plant the seed, you don't even bother, and nothing's going to materialize. There's a quote that I like by David Schwartz that goes like this: the thinking that guides your intelligence is more important than how much intelligence you have. It's not about your IQ, it's not about your intelligence, it's about the thinking that guides it. We all know people that are super, super smart, but their lives suck, right? Because they're using that big brain of theirs, the big brain power, to figure out reasons why not to level up. They're figuring out reasons why not to quit their job. They're seeing all the possible ways that things could fail. They're seeing all the dangers in every scenario. They're playing it safe, and that's how they're using their brains. It's a very defensive type of maneuver. Whereas some people that we look at, we're like, this person's dumb, this person's not going to amount to anything. But these people have high expectations, and they start figuring it out. It might take longer than someone who's smart, but they figure it out over time and actually make a success out of themselves. You see those people that just kill it at sales jobs. They might not know the psychological marketing persuasion and stuff, but they just go out there and kill it because they expect to do well, right? They might not even speak English properly or pronounce words differently, but because of that self-belief, that expectations, they make those insane commissions and just dominate. So how can you change your expectations? My first piece of advice is to start believing yourself even when your outer world doesn't show you evidence. Just believe you can do it, right? Worst case scenario is you don't do it, but it's better to believe you can do it because then you open up the gates for that being a possibility. I know it can be difficult, I know it can be hard. Maybe your family and friends are all set on that lower level of expectations, but you have to transcend that and really believe that you can do something different. The second tip I have is to saturate yourself with the success that you want. You know, we live in a digital age. We've got podcasts, we've got audiobooks, we've got YouTube, we've got everything, right? So if you want to make more money, start immersing yourself in entrepreneurship podcasts and books and seeing people that are winning, right? If you want to be fitter and healthier, start watching people that are exercising, that are in better shape than you, that see how they're eating, their macros, all that type of stuff. You need to immerse yourself in what you want, and that changes your expectations. Remember, you can't look around you if the people around you are losers. You need to look at where you want to be and really immerse yourself in that. So the third tip I have, and this is one I always give to my coaching students, is to find people that look like you, that's similar to you, that have won. So I had this coaching student who wanted to start a blog, but he was scared to post anything because he wanted it to be perfect. So what I did to him was I got him to use the Wayback Machine, a website that lets you look back at websites from like 20 years ago, 10 years ago and see how they were, and to look at all the authors that he thought were doing really well, that were blogging really well, and to look at how they were writing 10 years ago and to see that they once were beginners just like him. They sucked. I got him to look at Ryan Holiday's blog like some 12 years ago. It wasn't that great, but now Ryan Holiday's got a huge blog, Daily Stoic. It's doing really well. Or in terms of dating, a lot of Asian men feel like they can't attract white women. That's a common thing. So what I tell them to do is to find examples of Asian men with white women. And this changes their belief. This puts their expectation to a whole new level. Like, oh, wow, we could actually do this. There isn't some weird racial boundary that I think is there. I'm going to go out there and get it. If someone's having trouble with money and maybe they're black and they're thinking that black people can't make money, find a black man who is killing it, who's making lots of money. The more specific, the more like you this person is, the easier it's going to be for you to trick your brain or to change your mindset into seeing that as your new level of expectation. If they can do it, I can do it. So guys, changing your expectations is the name of the game. If you don't change it, nothing else is going to happen. Do this, and I promise you'll be one step closer to living and dying well. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell notifications so we can see more of each other. Until next time.